This Atlanta to NASCAR 2024 weekend betting recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITH.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. We're recapping Atlanta. Cody, I think we said the sentence that's going to count for everything before we got the show going. And Cody, what is our recap of Atlanta?
Yeah, that's just super speedway racing, buddy.
That's just super speedway racing, everybody. Like that's
Rod, it's funny though, because as unpredictable as we say that drafting tracks can be, maybe, just maybe, some things aren't so unpredictable.
I think one of them just popped into the chat here in just a second. We'll talk about that for sure. JDK saying, fade Larson, LOL. Okay, listen, as I was watching, because to be completely honest with you guys, so I was on our Army weekend this weekend, so I didn't get to watch the races live. So I took all of them in today. So I have, 5 hours worth of racing. Of course, I have the fast forward button, so thank God for that. But it's all condensed in my head. But my biggest takeaway as I walked away from the television after all of that racing, we had these two races pegged. We called so many things that were going to happen in this race. As unpredictable, like you said, as it is, Cody, I feel like we had our finger on the pulse of both of these races because a lot of what we said was going to happen came out. And I was like, oh my God, we said this was going to happen. Oh, we said this was going to happen. I was like, geez, we had these races pegged. So too bad the bets didn't follow suit.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? That's the problem. Like in the Cup race, and we'll get into it, there just wasn't enough chaos for most of the bets that we gave out. You really needed there not to be cardboard gate number 2 happening. And maybe that would have helped us out a little bit. We would have got a big wreck in there and catch some of those bets. So we'll talk through all that as we go there, but just some things. I mean, and I tweeted it out. I got some hate on the X, Rod. It is to me. If you've listened to this show for any amount of time, I personally think that Kyle Larson is the greatest race car driver in the world right now, hands down. He would beat Max Verstappen anything, anywhere, except maybe F1. But if you gave him time in the same car, I think he could hang with him. But okay, and maybe not drafting tracks. I think Max might get him there too. But that's the thing is, as good as he is, as amazing as he is in everything and everywhere, he is just so fucking bad at drafting tracks. And Atlanta's being the worst one. I mean, he's 5 for 6 with DNFs, 5 for 6 finishing 30th or worse. And it's insane. And then people are like, well, the car just snapped out of the thing. Well, I don't care what happened. I don't care if a car snapped out of the thing. I don't care if the aliens zapped down on him. I don't care if 36 other cars wrecked and had nothing to do with him and he got caught up in it. Every single fucking time he gets caught up in it. And you're going to think to yourself during the race, Rod, wow, Kyle Larson looks good. Wow, Kyle Larson looks fast. He was running in 3rd fucking place. It just every single time. And I do not hate Kyle Larson. I'm probably going to be on Kyle Larson this weekend at Watkins Glen. But it just it blows my mind how fucking bad he is. And it's not Like, and it's not always his fault. This maybe was his fault. I don't really know what the fuck happened there, but just like every fucking time, it's insane.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so I want to talk more about that, but I also want to tell you real quick before the bosses fire me about the NFL and college football. They're back in full swing, baby. Oh, Niners play tonight. I am so excited to watch that game. Had a really good fantasy football day. Beat Cody in one league and losing to him in another. So this is how many leagues we're in, where I could be kicking his ass in one and he could be kicking mine in the other. But
hard to talk shit when we're in multiple leagues.
Seriously, right? Like, oh, I got you. Like, oh, I got you too. But while you're at it, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Gambling Podcast and the College Football Experience for free picks every game against the spread. And okay, to get back to the Kyle Larson thing, that was his fault. I mean, it doesn't matter. The car snapped away from him. He overcorrected. It's a super speedway thing. If this were a normal mile and a half and the car snapped at him, it wouldn't be an issue because he can correct on those. Something about super speedways, he cannot deal with the I don't know if it's the speed, if it's the air. I just can't deal with it. And Cody, like you said, it doesn't matter because you could go back through all of those DNFs and says, well, it's because a car got into him. Okay. Oh, it's because he had a problem on the pit. Okay. The point you're making is not that it's that he can't do it. It's that something happens every single time that prevents
it. And that's the thing is again, Rod, and we often use the baseball analogy. Like if I throw you the same pitch 46 times and you've only ever hit it once, I'm just going to keep throwing you the same pitch because that pitch is working. Like it doesn't matter if it snapped out of him. It didn't matter if it's a flat tire. It doesn't matter if somebody else wrecks him. It doesn't matter if he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. 46 career starts on drafting tracks, and he has one top 5 finish. It's just, and like, that wouldn't be so crazy if we were talking about like Harrison Burton or just like somebody random in the field. But it's the fact that we're talking about the best race car driver in the entire world in one of the fastest cars in the Cup Series on a week-to-week basis. Like that's what makes it even more astonishing that it's that he's that bad at it. And again, it just blows my mind. But then like on Underdog, I can't tell you how many, every free promo that Underdog ran this weekend, whether it was Kelsey over half a yard, I don't remember all of them. They only let you, put so much on it, but I maxed out Larson worse than, Truex worse than, plus the free promo, every single one. And there was just no sweat at all. Both of them get it done. Then we got Talladega in a few weeks. So guess what we're going to do, guys? I just like, why stop? I would say I hate to harp on the same thing every time, but when we keep making money off of it,
the whole purpose of the show is to make money for you guys, right?
It just, people get so upset every time, like, why you got to hate on Larson? Well, he's the best driver. And it's like, yeah, but every fucking time we come to these tracks, it's the same thing. And they still give us the opportunity. They're still going to put him in a head-to-head. We're still going to get a finishing position every single time. He was in, if you read my article on sportsgamblingpodcast.com, which you should be doing every week, he was in a head-to-head against Joey Logano, Rod. I wrote that up. I didn't know that Joey was going to win the race, but that head-to-head could not have been farther apart. Like, wow, just insane.
Well, congratulations, by the way, to Joey Logano for picking up a win in the playoffs. Can we have this conversation now? Even year Joey Logano, we keep trying to count him out.
My bracket's busted already, Rod.
Is it already?
I had Joey going out in the first round.
That's right. You did too. And I told you against, I cautioned you against it. I said, hey, listen, buddy, this is even year Logano. And guess what? Even year Logano gets it done. Beats out Daniel Suarez, this time by more than Lightning McQueen's tongue, but not much, not very far away.
More. Yeah. Walter says he hit that one. I saw he had Logano outright. Cash 2 Larson head-to-heads as well. Yeah, I had 4 of them on the morning of on my local place, and it was just like, yes, and yes.
No, keep doing it.
Sweat free.
The only one that it wouldn't have cashed was a Chase Briscoe. That was the only head-to-head that it wouldn't have cashed.
Which was just unlucky on Briscoe's part. Because, yeah, man.
All right, well, let's talk about that. Let's get into the bets then, shall we? From the Quaker State 400 as we circle through the rest of this race, because it wasn't all that eventful. There was a lot of, it was a lot of great racing, and there was a few good events, but like overall, again, it was a little bit of just a runaround for some of that. But let's get into the bets there, Cody.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start it out. Fade Larson, right? Take any head-to-heads. And obviously anything you took except for Briscoe would have cashed, so congrats to you. Hopefully you did. The one I gave out was Chase Elliott over Kyle Larson. That was the one we found at the time. Minus 130. We talked about it. You don't love to pay the juice on super speedways, but against Kyle Larson, you'll do it. This is why, Rod, because again, it doesn't matter. He's running a third place, and he cannot avoid it no matter what the cause is. And man, it really does blow my mind. But yeah, this was, again, sweat-free bet for you.
Only pay the juice if you lose. And guess what? Like you said, we did not lose on this one. This one, again, as part of the things that I said was going to happen as a part of this race, I think I even threw out, if you want to even take a pole bet on McDowell, it's probably a good idea because McDowell's been on the pole for all sorts of these drafting track super speedway races, right? Guess what? McDowell parks it on the pole. But I told you he's going to park it on the pole, but he's not going to finish anywhere near the pole. In fact, that is exactly what happened. Michael McDowell, 22nd place finish. Tyler Reddick, a 6th place finish after starting 23rd. They went like this, in opposite directions. And in fact, Michael McDowell tried to even put 2 tires on to get himself some track position, to which he promptly lost that as well. So Michael McDowell tried to stay up front, but that car could not keep up. It qualifies well. It runs by itself beautifully, but you get in the pack, you get around other cars that are faster than him in the pack, he just drops like a rock. So Tyler Reddick over Michael McDowell, that one was an easy one, even when he took 2 tires and decided to hang around the front for a little bit to try to make this one a bad one.
Yeah, good call by you. This one was a pretty easy cash. Rod, we were so close on a couple of top 10s. There just wasn't enough chaos. And like we were close because I gave out Justin Haley at plus 425. He finishes in 12th. Like you can't get a ton closer, right? Daniel Hemrick, 7-1. I gave him out. I said I didn't feel good about it. Then Phil on his show and the NASCAR Betting Preview show gives it out. I text him and I go, it's disgusting, but I love that we're both on Hemrick. And then we were texting about Hemrick all weekend. And he texted me after the race and he goes, 11th. Are you kidding me? I'm like, yeah, just so close. But look at plus 425 at 7-1. Not a lot of value in the top 10 market this week. These guys finished in 11th and 12th place. You literally cannot get any closer to the top 10. Obviously, they don't cash. That, again, not hitting a bet is not what makes it a bad bet. These were good bets. They were the right track. These are guys who find their way to the end. They did just that. We needed another. There really wasn't a big one in there until the last lap, which at that point, you're kind of limited on getting these guys up there farther. Also tossed out BJ McLeod at 10-1. I mean, look, he ends up with a 25th place finish, a couple spots behind Yaley in 23rd there. Good finishes for both those guys. But again, you're only going to hit BJ McLeod top 10 if you get a lot of chaos, which this race did lack.
Yeah, it did. It lacked enough of it to make these guys into the top 10. If those guys would have gotten squirrely up at the front and a couple more of those cars would have gotten taken out, you would have probably been looking at cashing these bets for sure. So one that you were not going to, and this was a bad one. I will eat this one. SVG top 10 plus 350. I'm not even going to grace this with an explanation. Started 28th, finished 32nd. Whatever he learned in the last few races, he forgot. I mean, I know he tagged the wall. I get it. But even still before that, he wasn't necessarily going to be a top 10 car. So Shane Van Gisbergen, it was a nice idea. We were trying to find value in the top 10 market. Unfortunately, there was no value in that one.
Yeah, unfortunately. I saw a stat somewhere. Only 2 drivers ran in the top 15 less than Denny Hamlin, who only had 1 lap in the top 15, which is crazy to think of. And SVG and Cody Ware were those 2 guys. So just not a good day for SVG, which is, and I think I sort of brought that up when you brought this up. I was like, man, I just don't know if the number's big enough as much as we liked him. I know I talked about him a lot more on Saturday for the Xfinity race and didn't really pan out there either. But yeah, just a tough one for SVG.
Indeed. All right, what's next?
Next up for me, Rod, I had a couple of top Ford bets. Obviously, Joey Logano wins the race, so he cashes the top Ford. Penske actually sweeping all 3 top Ford spots. Justin Haley finished 12th. You know, he was the next best Ford, the 4th finishing Ford. So, again, you're looking for chaos at these. Had Burton at 25-1. He was caught up in that last lap. Barek also had Cindric at 8-1. Look, Cindric had a great freaking day. Second in stage 1, win stage 2. He and Blaney kind of flipped those because they both, they were 1-2 in the stages. Obviously, then their teammate goes on to win. So great day by them. Do not regret having Cindric for sure. And as good as the Penske cars were, throwing Burton in there, You don't hate having it. Again, just not enough chaos. Top Chevy market, Daniel Suarez. God, he's really got Atlanta figured out. Second place, so he kind of takes the cake there. Didn't really have any upsets again in this one because, again, there just wasn't the chaos. Had Zane Smith at 80-1, Ricky Stenhouse at 20-1. Neither of those guys really in the mix. I mean, Stenhouse 14th. Again, a wreck or two, another overtime. Maybe you get some stuff. Zane in 21st. Just, you needed more chaos, Rod. And that's what you do. You prep for chaos going into these. I'm never going to get chalky on super speedway betting. As crazy it is, chalk hit completely this week, right? The heavy favorite in Xfinity wins, and Logano was one of the co-favorites going into the weekend. He obviously wins. So just kind of how it goes sometimes.
Well, yeah, and again, when you look at Ricky Stenhouse, he was jockeying for the lead for a little bit, so not a bad call there. Just when you got shuffled back, he got caught in the middle a couple of times, and people weren't helping him out. So it is what it is, my friends, and unfortunately, it wasn't at this point.
Yeah, and back to the SVG thing. The problem is he tends to hang out in the back on drafting tracks while learning this year, which is a problem in this race. But if we get a chaotic super speedway like we generally do, that's exactly what you want, right? You want the guys who are hanging out in the back and avoiding all the chaos that we didn't get. So old-fashioned football checking in. Hey, buddies. Hey, Justin. How's it going?
Good to see you. All right, we're going to get back to the bets, but first let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy, which we cleaned up. Ty Gibbs was the only one that did not hold up his end of the bargain for us this weekend. Unfortunately, didn't finish better than 16.5, but we had Busch better than 7.5. Yes. Suarez better than 10.5. Yes. Kyle Larson better than 10.5 or worse than. Yes. Truex worse than. Yes. Alex Bowman better than. Yes, it was a great day for us in Underdog Fantasy. You should be able to get in on that too, because Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry. NFL's back, and there's a ton of Pick'em specials to get you started. You can also use specials and boost on all your flex entries. Sign up now. Get in on the action with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. Yeah, and that Gibbs one, that was a heartbreaking one because he fell to the end at the end. So,
well, and if the cardboard hadn't fallen, I mean, he's sitting pretty fucking good, right? So
Walmart Plus.
I wish. I know we're up to 6 now, and some people don't like it. I wish we had more super speedways, Rod, because that is the week to clean up. In general, like on super speedway drafting tracks, you want to go lighter on everything. I'm not gonna lie, those are my heaviest weeks on Underdog easily because you just take worse thens on most people, and that's what ends up happening, even despite the lack of chaos this week. And we made good calls on the ones. I think you were more heavy on some of the better thens, and you hit it with Suarez, with Busch. So yeah, it was just a really good week for us on Underdog.
Speaking of Suarez top 5 plus 275. The Mi Amigo, my friend, does have this thing figured out. He started 30th. He started 30th and finished as the runner-up, and with a legitimate shot to win this race, had it not been for a few of the late race shenanigans. But I mean, he looked strong all day long. He was making the right decisions. He was following the right people. He was taking the initiative when he needed to. He was racing aggressive when he had to and laying back when he had. There's a couple times where he got caught up 3 wide that he managed to survive and sort of lay back a little bit. But this Suarez top 5, it was only in doubt because of the last couple of cautions that were out there, because who knows what happens. He was in that zone between 5th and 10th, and he was kind of cutting it back and forth. And then by the end of it, that very last restart, he was able to keep himself in the top 5, and then of course charge his way back up to fight for the lead. So Suarez top 5 plus 275, never in doubt.
Yeah, man, Suarez, he's probably going to not be great odds next time we come to Atlanta next year, but keep in mind how good he is at Atlanta more specifically. I think he's all right on the other drafting tracks, but he seems to have Atlanta really figured out. And yeah, you were spot on there. Top Toyota Rod took the bottom 3 guys, and a couple of the top guys are the ones who end up hitting this. You get Bell in 4th and Reddick in 6th, but then you got to go all the way down to Ty Gibbs at 17th. I had taken Gibbs at 8-1, Jones at 12-1, John Hunter at 25-1. Gibbs sitting very, very good late in the race. Had a good shot at this. And then, of course, we get Cardboard Gate 2.0, Rod. And who knows? Who knows what would have happened there? I think we would have ended up with a big wreck, but likely behind Gibbs, making him be able to hold on and be able to get a better deal there. But he said he missed a block on that restart, and boy, it looked like he dropped an anchor and fell all the way from, was he second, I believe, to 17th. So rough finish for him. But again, you're getting a large group. You're getting 25 to 1, 12 to 1, 8 to 1. You're going to take this every time on the drafting tracks. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't.
Hey, Jones was looking good for a while too. I mean, that guy was making the outside line work. He was really pushing it. So this had, I mean, it never really had a shot, Jones, but I don't know, a couple more things go wrong.
But you get chaos. Like, that's the thing. If Bell and Reddick are suddenly swept up in that, then you've got Gibbs in 17th. The next Toyota that we wasn't included in this bet somewhere is all the way back in 24th with Denny Hamlin. So, and Jones was right there with him. So it's just, you needed chaotic wreck that probably wipes out Bell and Reddick, and we didn't get it. And that's as frustrating as the chaos can be at points. When you're planning on the chaos, it can make it difficult when it doesn't happen.
Indeed. All right. Speaking of Reddick, I had Reddick as a top 3 car. Look, he wasn't even in the conversation until the very end. So this one, he finished 6th, but boy, that was an absolute miracle that he finished 6th. He started 23rd. He was, I don't think he was not in the top 10 in either of the stages. And just, I mean, this was all Reddick being able to push his way through the front. And yeah, I mean, to finish 3 spots outside of a top 3 when you were 23rd and not even in the mix until the very end of it, I take that every time. If he would have started anywhere near the front, we may have been having a different conversation and putting him in the top 3 at plus 650. But I think just to show that he was in 6th place after such a terrible day shows you that bet was strong. He just needed a better start.
Yeah, I mean, to get within 3 spots of plus 650, you really can't complain too much about that. Man, 45 cars on a tear, Rod. Hopefully it keeps up through the rest of the playoffs. I had the Corey LaJoie car lift. None of that hit. Yeah, what was your next bet, Rod?
I think there are going to be people that might have to make you some merch with Corey LaJoie and a car lift on it. But hey, listen,
look,
he had his spots.
We're 1 spot away. He finishes in fucking 15th, and we had the under on the 14.5. What a bad beat, right? We're 1 spot away from getting there, and then you at least hit the bottom level of the ladder, the car lift. Like, that's really what you're looking for. Again, you needed some more chaos. He wasn't mixing it up near the front as much as I had hoped he would be, or as much as I thought he would be, right? In past Atlanta races, we've really seen him race with the leaders. And I don't know if his podcast is out yet. I have a chance to listen to it if it is. But I don't know if he was more hanging back like Denny was and waiting for something to happen before he got up there, or what the deal was. But you didn't see him like you normally kind of see him throughout this race in general. So I was disappointed by that. Look, if you think I'm not going to run this back at Talladega, well, sorry, you're wrong, because I'm going to, because it's made me so much fucking money over the years that we'll run it back once again, and maybe that'll be the last time. Who knows? Dr. Scotty Jones can't stand LaJoie. Well, if he's made you as much money as he's made me over the years, you'd be a lot bigger fan. But, we might have one more time to do this, and then we might be done with him. Who knows?
Car lift. All right, I'm done with McDowell to win anything. So McDowell did not win Group D over Ross Chastain. He beat
This was Rod's hedge off of shitting on McDowell earlier in the show.
Yeah, it was too. I was like, well, maybe if he doesn't, he could at least finish better than all the other rest of the guys. But he didn't finish better than Cindric, didn't finish better than Chastain. He did finish better than Truex. So yeah, that was my mistake on that. Sorry, guys. I tried to give you a good winner. I should have picked Ross to win this group, but yeah, that's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes, Rod. Outrights, Elliott 14 to 1. I mean, he comes home in 8th place. Like, be there at the end, right? You get one more caution, one more overtime. He's going to have a chance at it. You like that. Reddick at 25 to 1. You just talked about it. He finished in 6th place. So again, one more caution. Maybe the other Walmart sign. Was there a Kmart sign out there somewhere? Could that have fallen over? Who knows? Maybe we would have got a Reddick win at that point. Stenhouse at 50 to 1. Not enough chaos. Harrison Burton 80 to 1. Again, not enough chaos.
Nope. Wallace is who I had in 23-11 to kind of piggyback on that one. Wallace was in the lead for a while, but had to pick because gas was an issue. So this wasn't anywhere near cashing because he wasn't necessarily one of the stronger cars. And when he did get put back in the field, yeah,
that was a little surprising because, generally he's pretty strong at super speedways, but you did. And I don't know, maybe it was just a Toyota thing, but although Gibbs, once Gibbs got up there, he looked good, but The rest of the Toyotas, like, they just really had a bad weekend starting back in qualifying. Obviously, they had issues. They had to change parts on 3 cars before the race. All of it was a pretty rough weekend for Toyota.
It was. But again, congratulations to Joey Logano for punching his ticket to the next round. Sorry to Cody's bracket. And we're gonna move on to Watkins Glen, where we could probably fade him safely again and put our bets to rest. But we'll put a bow on Atlanta in the Cup Series. Thank you for the great racing. Thank you for the entertainment. But yeah, we're on to Watkins Glen.
Yeah, and just a reminder too to those out there, if you're still newer to NASCAR and the playoffs and how it all works, Joey Logano's locked into the next round. So if he finishes dead last in the next 2 races, it doesn't matter. He is guaranteed to not be one of the first 4 cut. And then he carries those right. He gets 5 bonus points for winning the race. He'll start to carry those through each round the rest of the time. So it is a big advantage to win because they don't have to worry so much about Watkins Glen and Bristol. They'd like to go win. They'd like to get more playoff points if they can, but they can already begin looking at the next round and say, okay, Kansas, Talladega, what's the other one? Roval, I think, in that round. Like, what can we do with these tracks to help and get us into the round of 8 after that?
Yeah. So again, it's just up to them now to figure out their strategy. But yeah, they're locked in. They don't got to worry about the riffraff. They can hang back like Denny Hamlin and miss out on all the good stuff and watch the race go by and then get wrecked out at the end, only to have your strategy. It's like, I don't like this. Well, guess what? It didn't like you this week.
That's brutal.
That is brutal. All right. We'll talk about the Xfinity race coming up. But first, I want to tell you about Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and to get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. You can build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me. And Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Go claim that 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right. Well, the Focused Health 250, is that what it was? No, I'm trying to blank on it. Yeah. Focused Health 250 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway was the Xfinity race. And once again, Cody, I can just go ahead and just say to this one, thank you for playing. Austin Hill's going to win a super speedway. Nobody ever argue with me again about that one, ever.
I've been thinking about this. Obviously, this race happened on Saturday. I've had time. I still don't know if, I still don't think this was a good bet to make. He really wasn't in it until the end. And there's just so many things that can go wrong, but he's bet Atlanta specifically. I think 8 of his 9 career wins now are all on drafting tracks. So that's obviously, he's got something figured out. Right. And it's insane. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get to your bet on it.
Yes, we will. Let's start off.
Just absolutely crazy for Austin Hill.
Yes, indeed. Well, what do we got? What was the card started with then?
Yeah, I started out with SVG 11-1. Look, this was a huge number for a guy that, again, we talked about him in the Cup Series as well. At least you got a really big number here, and you hope for some chaos. You hope for a cool, calm, collected veteran gets to the end of the race, can score the top 5. This was also a not super chaotic race. Like, we had one kind of wreck that was towards the end there that collected a few of the front runners. Unfortunately, the Siegs, the Allgaiers, the Custard, right? They all got caught up in that one. But outside of that, we didn't really have any other. I don't know. This weekend was just so weird for being the drafting race that it is. We didn't have all the chaos, and it's not super helpful for the bets. So another one, SVG really probably didn't have a chance here, but he did it in the spring, so it wasn't crazy to take this at 11-1. The number was right. Just not his weekend, I guess.
No, and again, he was, if it wasn't for the fact that I think he got in the wrong place at the wrong time, he could have been running up there. So it's just, yeah, SVG, he'll get there again. We'll be betting on him a lot more over the course of his career. So yeah, not a bad bet. Neither was Josh Williams, top 5 car, 11-1. Oh my God, Josh Williams. I told you those Colleague guys, if we thought Allmendinger was going to be good, if we thought SVG was going to be good, well, it turns out Allmendinger was good. SVG was meh, but Josh Williams was the one that stole the show. 8th place finish for Josh Williams. Allmendinger does
Why
finish
can we
3rd.
not get fucking top 10s, Rob?
And I said it. I said I would love a top 10 on Josh Williams because I take it at half of that, but I have to say top 5. And guess what? He was running in the top 5 toward the end of that race. He was mixing it up around the top 5 at the end of that race. And that's all you can ask for out of an 11-1 guy. So I am not sad at all that I suggested this bet, because guess what? It almost hit.
Yeah, really, you can't get too much closer than he was. 11-1, there's great value there. This was a great call by you. I had Fast Pasta, Anthony Alfredo, top 5, plus 550. This was a lot like Corey LaJoie in the Cup Series, like sort of disappointed you didn't see him up there very much, right? And I had said in the show, you're going to see him up there mixing it up. He's going to be mixing it up with the leader. You're going to hear his name. They're going to talk about him. You didn't really get that. I don't know. I finishes 14th, so he's not too far out of there, but I don't think he ever really had a shot at a top 5. Maybe again, if you get more chaos, obviously, how many that turn that into a drinking game for this show, you get drunk real quick, because I've said it enough times. But yeah, I don't know. I was a little disappointed that he wasn't mixing it up there more like I thought he would be.
He had his moments. There was a couple times where the broadcasters were like, oh, look, and Anthony Alfredo. And then unfortunately, he actually was part of a scuffle. He didn't get a whole lot of damage, but he got impacted by it, which is kind of what took him out of the running there. So yeah, not a bad bet. I mean, it's just, we don't have top 10s. If we had top 10s, we'd have put a lot of these on top 10s, but we didn't have them. All right, another heartbreak by a couple of positions. Sammy Smith, top 5, plus 350 or 360 rather. Sammy Smith ends up coming in 7th, 2 spots outside of a top 5. And he had a shot. He had a shot at the end. He could have probably gotten around, but once that got strung out at the end, there was no way it was going to be a cashing bet. So lost this one in the last few laps.
Yeah, another one, though, that, again, like if we're limited on the options with only having top 5s here, you got a plus 360 and an 11-1 within 3 spots of getting inside the top 5. Didn't fall your way this time, but they were still the right bets to make, the right guys to be on, and they got so close. Top Toyota, again, small group right here. Taylor Gray at 4-1, Corey Heim at plus 550. There's only 5 Toyotas in the field. You take 2 of them. They just got to beat 3 other guys. Corey Heim had it. Oh, he was so close, Rod. I thought he was going to hold on, and Chandler Smith got back around him, unfortunately. So this one doesn't cash. Taylor Gray was actually mixing it up with the leaders for a while there. He ended up getting some damage and went out. I think a suspension was the official cause of him leaving the race, but he was mixing it up in there for a while. You like to see it, but Heim, how is he driving an unsponsored car? What? And he finishes in 5th place with a chance to win there at the end. Obviously he doesn't go with Chandler at the end there to push him. I thought that was an interesting move, but much like Parker Kligerman a few weeks ago, he saw an opportunity to win this race and had to take it. So don't hate having had money on him. 1 spot away, I guess should have just went with the top 5 instead, but felt like the top Toyota would just keep it open a little more. Chandler gets him by 1 fucking spot and screws me yet again. So thanks to Chandler Smith for that. But yeah, unfortunately missed out on those.
I'm telling you guys, if you want to start a GoFundMe, we can raise enough money to sponsor the 26 car for a race. I feel like between this community, we can get it together.
And you just got to hold out till like the night before, right? If they don't put anything on the car, like, how low will they go the night before?
Yeah.
And be like, you want to be out there with a black car or at least something on there? Come on.
I mean, listen, I'll put the decal on there. You can just wrap it and have some fun. Could you imagine that big bright yellow car with the orange lettering on it?
That'd
be fantastic. I'd love that. All right. So I had Ryan Truex top 3. Ryan Truex finishes in 10th place. But how much different would this race have gone for that 39 car if he did not have to come back and get back on the lead lap and run through the field? Holy hell, Ryan Truex put on. I mean, that's Truex. No, that was Ryan Sieg. Damn.
Yeah, that was Sieg. You're jumping ahead, Rod.
I'm sorry. Yeah. No, Ryan Truex though, but Ryan Truex started 7th, finished 10th. He actually fell back and around and came back through the field again too, because he actually fell back quite a few places. He didn't even finish either of the stages in the top 10, but at the end he was in the mix. But I don't think he was ever going to get inside the top 3 because he wasn't that fast of a car.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, wasn't as weak for as much speed as kind of some of the other Toyota teammates showed. Just don't really see it out of Truex, so unfortunate there. Top Chevy, Rod. If you'd have told me going into this race, AJ Allmendinger finishes second at plus 650. Parker Kligerman finishes third at 8-1. Yeah, buddy, we cashed this. God damn it, Austin Hill wins the race. Didn't cash either of these. Also gave out Brandon Jones. Ninth place finish for him at 18-1. He was there. He had a shot. Value was worth it. Plus 650, plus 800, missed by one fucking spot, Rod. You can't, this was a weekend of getting so, we were on the right track. We made the right calls, and we got so close. We just needed, that one extra wreck in both of these races, and I think we would have cashed a lot of these bets. So, unfortunate that that's how it goes. But, again, these were the right calls. We were on the right track here. Plus 650, plus 800 for the next best two Chevys who finished second and third places respectively. You can't ask for them to finish much better and try to cash this top Chevy bet for you.
Yeah, no, again, it's just we were so close on these. A couple of positions here and there, and we might have had a much better day. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's just how it crumbles. I had Cole Custer as a top 3 car. There was no way Cole Custer was going to make this out alive. I think he barely finished the race, right? No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He was caught up. I mean, he was kind of hanging around and up in the top 5, top 10 for most of the day. But, I mean, that wreck, where did that, I want to say Allgaier or Sieg were battling 4th, 5th play. I mean, it was a pretty, it took out some heavy hitters in that wreck.
It was lap 146. It took out Sieg. It took out Tay, took out Allgaier, took out Herbst. Remember, that was what Jesse Love had the 98 on his hood.
Oh. Wow, could Herbst and Custer get taken out at the same time, Rod? Who said that?
I think that was you.
Yeah, I think it was me. That hood getting stuck on his car and then not coming off. That was just the weirdest thing I've seen in a long time. But
that's a weird hood bling, but what's fine.
It was, yeah. They're making jokes too. You can't lock bumpers, but can you have a second bumper? Who knows? So yeah. Speaking of that wreck, I had Ryan Sieg top 5, 5-1, top 4 to plus 330, and to win the race at 30-1. Look, Rod, the top finishing Ford ended up being Lawless Allen. Shout out to the 15 car there for actually finishing a race. But that was all the way back in 13th place. Ryan Sieg, a much better car than that, has the electrical issue early in the race. He's running top 5 when that happens. He goes 2 laps down. He fights all the way back, had the fastest car in the field. They were talking about him throughout the day. Looked so good. He got his 2 laps back, all the way back up there, battling with the leaders, gets caught up in that big wreck. What are you going to do? That's how it goes. Talladega is his best of the 3 drafting tracks routes. So we'll be on him again at Talladega in a couple of weeks. And again, it's the same. You look at this and you're like, well, this didn't cash. But if you go back to Daytona 2 weeks ago, he finished 5th, right? So you cashed the top 5 there anyways. But again, you're playing the long game, right? You keep betting on these certain guys every single fucking super speedway because they hit a lot. And when they do, they're big numbers. They're plus 550. They're plus 330. They're plus 330-1. So good numbers. He had a fast car, looked like he was shot early when he goes multiple laps down, comes all the way back, gives you life, gets caught up in the wreck. That's just super speedway racing for you.
Just super speedway racing. And another way to get Ryan's mixed up. Truex and Sieg. I don't know. I'm over here trying to build the case for Truex and I'm talking about Sieg. I'm sorry to the other woman because I'm looking at you, but talking about the other one. I think that's how that went. But all right. I had winning car number under 19.5 at even money. That was just my hedge because I gave you the winner. And I said, if the winner doesn't win, it's probably going to come from outside of that range. And there was a lot of guys outside of that range jockeying, AKA Parker Kligerman, Chandler Smith, Corey Heim were all around there. So 3 of the top 5 cars were all on the other side of that 19.5 range. Plus you saw guys leading laps that were out there in front of that range too. So yeah, I'm thinking that was a good one because I told you who the winner was going to be anyways. And I said, just take this on the other end of that.
Yeah, that was your hedge, Rod, and you didn't need to use it. AJ Allmendinger 10-1, second place. Parker Kligerman 15-1, third place. Come on, Rod. What a weekend of just getting so close, but not getting any action. Unfortunate. Alfredo 35-1. We kind of already talked about him. Gave out Retzloff as well at 50-1. He ended up
12th.
Okay. Yeah, I scrolled right past him. I don't know. I don't really even remember him being in the race. So I don't know. 12th place for 50-1. Yeah, it's not horrible, but I don't know. He just, you never really heard from him throughout the day.
He did get the attendance ribbon. I saw that. The participation trophy. He did get that. I watched him stand there with the ribbon saying, I was here. So at least there was that for Parker Retzlaff, unfortunately. But look, I know plus 290 is not a great number on a super speedway, but Austin Hill wins. And Austin Hill had every opportunity to lose that race. You said, Cody, and at the very beginning of the show, you said that a lot of stuff can happen and all that other stuff. But this is the opposite argument of a Kyle Larson. Because look, a lot of stuff is going to happen. A lot of stuff is going to take place in front, around, through Austin Hill. But he is a guy that is going to find his way out of it, whether or not it happens to him, around him, or because of him, which, by the way, something did happen because of him. But I will say that no matter, I don't know what it is. I don't know what super angel has Austin Hill under their protection on these super speedways, but it's happening. And you can say, yeah, but he could wreck out. He could, but he doesn't. Like that Kyle Larson. Yeah, but he could finish well this time, but he doesn't. So you have to accept the fact, if you're going to accept the fact that Kyle Larson is garbage on super speedways, you have to accept the fact that no matter what you think is going to happen, Austin Hill is going to come out the other end scot clean and probably win the race.
Yeah, in the drafting era, to find someone who's won 4 of 5 races, like throughout any of the series, I mean, I'd be shocked if even Earnhardt ever did it, or Dale Jr. or Jeff Gordon. Like, all these people were really great at it, but my God, it's just, we've been here 5 times in this. No, we've been here 6 times, I guess, in this configuration. 4 wins and a second place finish, and then 12th in the other one. It's incredible. It's so good. Plus 290. I mean, obviously it's the right call because it works. I think the other side of the coin is Daytona 2 weeks ago, where he doesn't even get to the second lap, and that's the risk you're taking. But he's 4 out of the last 5, Rod. Again, if the pitch is working, keep throwing the pitch, I guess.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, the argument with Larson is that he did it once before. Like, he's done it once before. So maybe he'll do it again. It's like Austin Hill. Yeah, he didn't make it a couple of weeks ago, but every other time he's won the race. So I can't, you can't throw one out with the other. It's got to be Austin Hill or nothing.
Yeah, just crazy. I don't know. I still don't think I will bet on him on super speedways, but if you took him, props to you, because it obviously worked out. So just to kind of touch base on the playoffs, Rod, we got 2 races left for the Cup Series in this round. Be Watkins Glen this weekend, and then the Bristol night race on the concrete. Looking at the cut line, Chase Briscoe 21 points out right now. He is the farthest car down. Truex at -19. Harrison Burton at -6. Then Keselowski is the last one out at -1. Gibbs is in by 1. Hamlin in by only 2. Larson, use that mulligan, Rod. This is why you build up playoff points throughout the season. Still 15 points to the good. Mulligan's gone now, right? He's gonna need to not use another one. But so that's kind of a look at it. Guys like Austin Cindric, 27 to the good now after a great points day for him. Ryan Blaney, 45 points to the good. Of course, Joey Logano already advanced to the next round. So that's just kind of a little update on where we are for the playoffs.
Outstanding. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be fun. We still got a couple of great races to break down, talk through. It's been a long weekend. I'm crashing out here on the last lap. So we're going to have to throw the caution. We're going to have to end this episode. But I will say, Cody, I know you had fun this weekend. I know that you were at a Nebraska game watching them.
Go Huskers. Oh, baby. What a great sports weekend, Rod. I just want to give you a quick rundown. All right. So, first of all, like, Notre Dame loses. That's always good to see, right? Everybody loves that. Iowa loses. Yes, please. Love that. That's always great. I go to the Nebraska game. Great environment. Weather here was perfect, which we don't get that often. Not cold, not hot, not windy, not rainy. Perfect weather. We stood the entire game. We did not sit down. I mean, we sat down like at halftime to give our legs a rest, but we stood the entire game. So fucking in there. I now have strep throat, which I may or may not have got from screaming. I don't know. Can you get that from screaming loud? I don't know. It's possible. But yeah, just like great environment. Shut the fuck up, Prime. Go away. Call a who. Never heard of Shedeur Sanders. But just, yeah, it was great to see the Huskers. First time since 2016 we're 2-0, Rod. It's been a long, bad run for us. We're ranked again, number 23. Beautiful. Then my daughter had her first volleyball game. Finished it up at the local racetrack, Eagle Raceway, yesterday. Dirt sprint cars, dirt late models. Great sports weekend. It was a lot of fun. And, oh, yeah, week 1 of NFL. Patriots got an upset. Holy shit, what a weekend it was. Cashed a lot of bets along the way. Kyle Larson made me have a great weekend. So shout out to him for that. Appreciate you being so consistent, Kyle.
Appreciate all of you. Well, we appreciate you for being consistent, Kyle, but we also appreciate all of you for joining us today on the recap. And yeah, we'll put Atlanta behind us and we will look to the road course of Watkins Glen for next week. As always, we'll be back tomorrow to break it all down for you from the Cup side of it. And yeah, we'll have the rest of the week's festivities throughout the course of the week as well. But yeah.
Watkins Glen's gonna be fun next week, Rod. Xfinity Series is fucking loaded. You've got a ton of Cup Series guys in there. Juan Pablo Montoya makes his return to the Cup Series. That's going to be interesting to talk about. SVG and Allmendinger are both going to be in quality cars for that race. So that's going to be exciting as well. Tire wear potentially to talk about at Watkins Glen. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, by the way, Hendrick Motorsports and McLaren have a press conference on Tuesday, Rod.
Uh-oh.
They're doing the double again. Let's go. It'll be made official tomorrow. We'll probably talk about that more on tomorrow's episode. But in the meantime, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Find all my stuff there. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. See you tomorrow for some Watkins Glen picks.
Yes, we will. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the about everything I got going on, whether it's here. Sportsbook review, crank back up again. Put out some fun and actually hit a bunch of the props from this weekend. Waiting on tonight to hit the rest. But yeah, having fun with those prop articles again for the NFL. And then, of course, check out In Between Media. Seth and I had a pretty good talk of Atlanta last week, and they'll do it again for Watkins Glen this week. So, yeah, keep it all right there and keep it locked here for your Watkins Glen coverage tomorrow. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do that. There's just a precious few subscriptions left before we get to that magical place called 1,000. So get us there and help the bosses keep us on the air. I always say that. No harm that it's going to happen, but it's always fun to put a little pressure on you in the meantime. So, all right, we'll see you tomorrow for Watkins Glen. Till then, let's go racing and let it ride.